This is our first base in this classroom, the first time we're going to build something and carefully craft it. And so I wanted to give you some tips for making sure that it actually worked how you were hoping it would. And we want this base to be, we're going to make it an 8-inch by 8-inch by 8-inch base. So that's going to be a cube, right? All three dimensions are the same. So there's our cube. And it's going to be 8 inches tall. And it's going to be 8 inches wide. And it's going to be 8 inches deep. So that means that we want from this point to be 8 inches. That is our goal. In order for my cube to turn out to be that 8 inches and for me to meet that goal, I have to keep in mind the thickness of my material. So I'm going to actually measure my foam core because that's what I'm going to assume I'm building right now, or I'll measure my cardboard too. And my foam core appears to be 3/16 of an inch. So at 3/16 of an inch, here's my 3/16. I wrote that down so that I won't forget. And so I have to keep that in mind in order for me to build that 8-inch box. I'm going to measure my cardboard as well because I don't want to make an assumption about how big my material is, and my cardboard measures 3/16 as well. So we're going to use the measurement of 3/16 inch is the thickness of my material. I'm actually going to draw the pieces so that I know what I have. And a cube has 6 sides. So I'm going to draw 6 squares here on the paper. And that way I can figure out which one is going to be which size so that I get my exact 8-inch by 8-inch cube. So I'm going to label them. This is the top. This is the bottom. This is side 1, side 2, side 3, and side 4. So let's figure out what the dimensions for each one of these is going to be. Oh, here's our box. And I measured our thickness of material, and we know it's 3/16. Slide that up a little bit. And so I'm going to start with my top. And I think if I think about the top as being the place that is where we put our sticks and stones, then I'm going to make that the largest and most flat piece. So I'm going to actually make my top 8 by 8, and that one can be 8 by 8. It fits into the right dimension. So that's the top, and let's make that one 8 inches by 8 inches. And since I have a bottom on my box, and my bottom is exactly the same, in the same place, it could be also 8 inches by 8 inches. So let's put that on there as 8 inches by 8 inches. So I have my top and my bottom. Those are identical. So I have 2 8 by 8 so far. So if you look at the diagram here, then, and we're keeping our thickness, our material thickness in mind, then we might look and see this piece here. So this would be this piece. And we'll call this piece side 1. And we know that there's a piece just like side 1 on the other side. And side 1 looks like it goes the whole length. We could say all of side 1 goes the whole length of 8 inches. So we could say side 1 is 8 inches wide. And I'm going to call the opposite side here, which I'm going to dot in really quickly so you know what I'm talking about. There's side 2. Side 2 is going to be the same thing. It's also going to be 8. Except if you look at the height of side 1 and side 2, we have to take into the account the thickness of the top and the bottom. And each of those are 3/16. So what we end up with is we have to subtract 8 minus 3/16 on the bottom, and that gives us 7 and, sure, I can do math, 13/16. And then we need to subtract another 3/16 from the top, and that gives us 7 and 10/16. That's a 6. So that means the width is 8 inches on both side 1 and side 2, and the height is 7 and 10/16. 7 and 10/16. So I'll slide that back up so you can see that. There it is, 7 and 10/16. So now we know we have two, at least, two that are 8 by 7 and 10/16. And now we just have to figure out side 3 and side 4. So let's take a look back at our diagram. And we know we did this with we know that the edge came over here on side 1, and also it did the same thing on side 2. So that leaves us an area that looks about like this on side 3 here. So I'm just going to label side 3 over here. That's side 3. And side 4 is going to be the same. And notice that we have the material from side 1 and side 2 overlapping here. So we also have the material from top and bottom overlapping. So our piece on side 3 and 4 is going to be a little bit smaller. So that's actually going to be that 7 and 10/16 this direction, and 7 and 10/16 that direction. So side 3 and 4 are 7 and 10/16 by 7 and 10/16, and 4 is the same, 7 and 10/16 by 7 and 10/16. Let me put that down here so you can see it. And there you go. You have all of your dimensions that you need in order to make a box. The trick here then is to make sure that you keep your pieces straight and you don't mix up what goes where. So I recommend drawing a map and labeling so that you can get it right and don't have to keep doing it over and over and over. And that will add up to give us a box that is 8 by 8 in all the right places. Okay, hope that helps.